Hello everyone, TimeToGrind here, and today I wanted to kind of talk about the competitive matchmaking and sort of my thoughts and suggestions on it as of right now. Now, if you guys don't know, in one of the previous patches we got recently, competitive matchmaking was added, and it tries to pair you with people that are not only your similar rank, but also similar party size. So we don't have separate matchmaking for solo and party. And so kind of what it tries to do is, say I'm queuing with a full team, so I have 6 people, it'll try to match me up with a full team as well that are also our skill level. And so it doesn't work out too well right now in beta, just because of the limited amount of players we actually have in the beta. But once open beta hits in around 24 days or whatever that is, and the game actually comes out, it'll be a lot better. But the competitive matchmaking right now has a few very, very great things about it, but it also has a few very, very bad things about it. And competitive matchmaking is going to most likely be 99% of what I play in Overwatch, besides the tavern brawls and stuff like that, because I like playing at the highest competitive level that I can. I'm not joining these tournaments and trying to do that, but I want to be able to play competitive matchmaking versus casual. And so, like I said, Blizzard did do it's just kind of like the first iteration. There's a lot of things they want to do. They're testing things out. So these are just my thoughts and suggestions, and most of these, hopefully, will change at some point or get fixed. But yeah, so first of all, the number one thing I feel like a lot of people are talking about is the fact that there's only 1 month seasons. So, I like the idea of seasons because, as an example, I think I've said this before, but I played Dota 2 a lot previously. And in order to get ranked, you had to be level, I forgot what level you had to be, but it equivalated to around 100 hours in the game before you could play competitive matchmaking. And so that's a lot stricter than it is in Overwatch, because you only have to be level 25. So once I hit level, or that level that I needed in Dota 2, I jumped into competitive matchmaking, and I was awful because I had only played 100 hours. And generally MOBAs, they require, they have really high learning curves. So I jumped into competitive matchmaking as soon as I could, and I got ranked so terribly. And because I don't play Dota as much as I used to, there's not really an incentive to, grind up my MMR, because right now I think I've improved as a player, and I feel like I'm better than what I matched up with, but I don't want to have to deal with that. So Seasons kind of fixes that in the fact that, you could be really, really bad, and you could get placed really poorly, and you can fix it if you actually improve, rather than having to grind it up. So it's more of, let me play with people that I actually should play with, rather than, I need to grind up my MMR or my rank because I want to actually play with people that are a challenge to me. And so, I like seasons. I like the whole concept of seasons, but I feel like 1 month seasons is way, way too short. Because I feel like it works in Hearthstone, because I think they're definitely taking this MMR system, a lot of stuff they're kind of taking from Hearthstone, the ranking system in that. And I feel like it works in Hearthstone because it's not, I don't know, it's just kind of the feeling about it, and also the fact that in Hearthstone, if you lose, as an example, if you lose, it's either, a lot of the times, it might have to do with RNG, but it's your fault. You can't blame it on a teammate. You can't blame it on, I was the only good person on my team. You can't really do that in Hearthstone. And so I feel like it works decently well in that, because on top of that, there's other things to worry about. There's not other things to worry about besides whether you just won or lost. You can't really track kill-death ratios and, all that stuff. But in Overwatch, there's a lot of factors that can contribute to how good you did. And say, you think you did good, and your teammates might not have done the best, or someone left the game and it was a 5v6 and you ended up losing. That's a reasonable thing to blame a loss on, if a teammate lost. And so having that kind of grindy ladder with 1 month seasons is kind of ridiculous, because theoretically, I've heard this a lot, theoretically, if you believe, say you're Challenger 3, if you believe that you're better than the average Challenger 3 player, then technically you should be winning more games than you lost after a lot of games, because the opponent should have or the enemy team should have 6 Challenger 3s, and your team should have 5 Challenger 3s plus you. If you believe that you're better than a Challenger 3, the power level of your team should technically be a little higher. And so after a lot of games, you should clearly be leveling up if you're truly better than the rank you think you don't deserve to be in. Now, with 1 month seasons though, that amount of games you can play to kind of have that theoretical truth play out isn't enough. In 1 month, games that, you have 5 Widowmakers because all the enemy teams were stacking and just messing around, those games are going to hurt more, whereas it might not hurt as much if it was, say, a 3-month season, because theoretically you should be getting, winning more of your games and increasing your rank. And with 1 month seasons, it kind of feels really grindy. It's more of, I need to grind up my rank rather than, I'm just going to play and, try to get as good as I can. Because I believe, for the first 15 days of a season, a lot of players are going to just be trying to grind up to what they were before, skill they were before. And Hearthstone solves this a little bit by, say you reach rank 10, because if you guys don't know, it starts at rank 25 and goes down to 1 and then, legend. So if you get to rank 10, during the next season, it gives you kind of a boost for how far you went in the previous season. So if you go to rank 10, you normally start the next season around rank 2019. And so you're not going to be facing those newer players as much, but you're still having to grind back up to rank 10. If you truly deserve to be in 10 and you were as good of a player to be in 10, you shouldn't have to grind your way from rank 19 to 10, especially in, a team-based FPS. And with 1 month seasons, there's just way too much grinding going on. You're having to worry about possibly playing with teammates that are below your skill level and having to deal with them until you can actually finally play with teammates you think are on your skill level and actually, improve. And on top of that, that also makes the first few days of seasons hell sometimes for some players. Say you're playing Hearthstone and you're new to Hearthstone, and you can generally get to only rank 19, and you normally end your seasons on rank 19, and you sometimes hop from as far down to 17, sometimes you're at 22, but you're around rank 19. Okay, so then there's another player, and he normally gets to around rank 10. And so during the next season, he's going to get brought over to rank 19, and you're going to have to face him. And he's most likely, if he's getting consistently to rank 10 and you're only staying around 19, he's most likely going to beat you. And so for a lot of newer players or people that might not get as far in the ranks, they're going to just have to completely avoid playing competitive for the first few days. And that's really, really not good. And one of my suggestions that I think could solve this is, first of all, have the seasons be a little longer. I love the seasons, but 1 month is way too short. But also, possibly make it where at the start of every season, you maybe play 5 or 10 placement matches or something. Or, once you get from Challenger, once you beat the Challenger ranks, it actually places you where it thinks you belong. Because the whole grinding aspect of it is really bad. And even if the seasons were extended to, say, 3 months or around that time, grinding can still really, really suck. I want to jump in competitive and play people that I deserve to be played against, and not grinding against these people that are lower skills than me, or possibly, stuff like that. Because it makes it not fun for the person that's a higher skill level, because they're not actually getting the competitive, aspect of the game that they want. And it's hurtful for lower skilled players, because a lot of the times they're going to be getting stomped on by some higher skilled players that are having to grind their way past their rank. So having placement matches is definitely something that really needs to happen, along with a longer season time. And another aspect of it, as I kind of touched in a little bit earlier, is teammates, just the teammates leaving. Because if you guys have played the game or you've watched the game, it seems like, to me, half of my competitive games have some sort of teammate leaving. And originally, that was a little bit of Blizzard's fault, but they fixed it just because they didn't communicate to the fact that it was several games, and it also made it look like it was the end of the game by having the cards and the play of the games, and it took a while before the next round started. And so if you don't know about this, so that, they added the little, stuff talking about it and trying to get people to know, but it's still really bad. People may leave because they just have to go, and that still sucks though. Or they might leave because they're rage quitting, or they might leave because they think they're funny or something like that. And there needs to be some sort of punishment for a teammate leaving. Now, And on top of that, they need to get punished, but they also, the team that lost the teammate needs to figure out a way to, we need to figure out a way to help them out so they're not just permanently at a disadvantage. Now, of course, you can't have players backfill into the game because that defeats the entire purpose of competitive. You can't have someone else take their place, but some possible suggestions is, have some bots like CSGO. And of course, like in CSGO, you can take over the bot. You can't really do that in Overwatch because you respawn after you die. It's not, end of the round or whatever. They could have something where you increase possibly the damage of all the players, but that's kind of a little janky. So it's going to be really hard to figure something out like that, but there definitely needs to be something. And I do like the way Blizzard is doing it because if you leave a game and then try to join another one, it'll automatically put you back in the game you left. So it's not like you can leave and then just immediately queue up for another thing. But there needs to definitely be a larger punishment. If a teammate leaves the game and doesn't come back within, say, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, they should definitely get a loss and lose rank, based on, as a loss. And they should also get some type of other punishment. So some things you could do is, I know Blizzard's kind of pushing with the decreased XP, but that only gives you cosmetics. So a lot of people might not care about that very much. If they think it's funny to go into a game and just leave, they're not going to care about their cosmetics as much. And so I think there should be possibly like, CSGO and Dota, and I'm sure other games do it, but these are kind of just games I'm familiar with, but have it where there's a cooldown. So if you leave a game, you can't play for the next, say, 30 minutes. And if you leave again, then you can't play for 6 hours. Then you leave again, you can't play for a week. And that's only competitive. So you'll still be able to play casual, but just have a cooldown on competitive. And so those are just a couple of my suggestions, my thoughts on the competitive matchmaking so far. And Blizzard has said, that this is kind of just the first iteration. They're definitely testing things. They are kind of working on all this stuff. There's going to be more features added. So hopefully a lot of things like this get fixed. I don't know if other people share my opinion. I know some of these things like the 1 month season, I know a lot of people don't like that. And, I don't like that either, clearly. But yeah. So if you guys have any other suggestions for possible, improvements on the competitive matchmaking that you've seen or experienced, make sure to tell me in the comments down below. I'd love to hear it all. And thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more Overwatch content. And like always, guys, see you next time.